Welcome, friends, to episode 215 of Color of Magic, your Magic Gaming podcast where we talk about all types of issues that affect gamers at and away from their gaming tables and computers. I am your host, Daquan Watson, and for 215 episodes, still got my main man way down in Texas, Brian Allen. How's it going, dude?
Going well, getting ready to go into a food coma, as I'm sure everybody is.
Yeah, if y'all don't know, if y'all aren't in the United States, it's Thanksgiving time this weekend, and that's an excuse to be gluttonous, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, you get to stuff your face with all types of food your family makes, your favorite stuff. We're going to sit around, watch football, play some games, just have a family event for a day or two. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more later in the show. So if you're curious about some of our stuff at Thanksgiving, we'll definitely be talking about that. But before we get things rolling, we got to tell you about our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com. If you haven't checked them out, you probably should, because they support us and you can get a discount. You can save 5% over there if you use code DRAGON. Really, really good stuff because they have stuff on sale right now, which is great. You should go check them out. They're good people. They support a lot of creators, honestly, which is awesome. So go over there, use code DRAGON. You'll be helping us out and you'll save some money while you're going to do some shopping this weekend anyway. And if you want to support us directly, you can go over to patreon.com/Color of Magic. And you can get a shout out just like HM Rue. Thank you so much for being a patron. And you can always go to colorofmtg.com/shop and pick up a couple of goodies for yourself. But that brings us to the soapbox. And I kind of want to use this opportunity to kind of talk about what I was just saying as far as supporting sponsors, right? And not just for our show. Like, if there are any creators out there that you sponsor, that you follow, right? They likely have some type of sponsors. And right now, just about everybody has some type of sale during Black Friday. Like, it's hard to find people that don't have something on sale or already just have really affordable things. You should support the stores or the businesses that support your favorite creators because they're giving you a lot of content, in a lot of cases for free or very cheap. And that costs them to operate those. And if you want their channel to grow and to get more cool stuff and have more guests and do more giveaways and all that wonderful stuff, you need to support them. So whether that's go out and you join somebody's Patreon, maybe you go buy some cards, like in our case from Cool Stuff Inc., since they're sponsors, like go hit that stuff up. Or at the very least, go hit up some local stores, right? If you're going to be doing that, then there's comic book stores and card stores. And if you're into, I don't know, quilting or whatever, I'm sure there's a local spot there that does it, right? You don't have to just go to the big box stores, because here's the difference. You go spend $20, $100, whatever this weekend at one of those big box stores, they're not going to care about you the minute you walk out the door, right? What you're spending is going to be 1/1000th of a percent of what they're going to make that day. But if you go to a local store, you're like $20, $100, whatever. It means a lot more to them, significantly more. So definitely hit them up. Like, your money spends much better there and goes to a cause that you can see the people, that you're supporting. You can see the employees that you're helping. And that money is likely to also stay within your community, which is also very good. So yeah, hit up local stores. Hit up and especially, like, let's say you're looking for cards. It's like, great, you can go to Cool Stuff, right? They're a sponsor. If maybe you're looking to buy clothes or something, heck, I've got a thing on my YouTube right now. If you want to get some sweet shirts that are up to 80% off over at Into the AM, right? You can hit that up, right? There's options out there, and people have sponsors for all kinds of things. So I'm just saying, if you're going to be spending money anyway, because a lot of people are, because sales weekend, people go spending on Black Friday weekend and Small Business Saturday, all that's become a whole event. Start with the local stores. Support those that are supporting you and the content that you enjoy. Your money's just going to go further that way, and it's going to be more meaningful. All right. That's my rant. I'm going to pass this over to you, dude.
All right, November 28th, coming up, Dead by Daylight is going to introduce Chucky, the main killer from Child's Play. And I think he has his own TV show now. It's become a huge cash cow for the Chucky creators. And I'm thinking, with everything that's been added to Dead by Daylight at this point, it may be the best licensed game ever. I mean, at this point, we've got a shared universe with almost every horror creature you can think of, ranging from the Alien to Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Michael Myers. They are at this point all in here in a kind of shared universe with a halfway decent story that's tying the entire thing together. It basically has come to define its genre. It wasn't the first, I guess asymmetrical horror game, but it's really been by far the most successful and the most profitable one, and really the kind of the only one that's really taken off and been able to sustain a project for, at this point, I forget, I want to say 6 or 7 years it's been going now, and to even have made enough money to get the likes of Chucky and Freddy and so on is just phenomenal. And, they kind of said they had something when they were starting to test the game. And they said people would just come in, it was something designed for the era of, Twitch and stream, because it is just fun to watch. Everybody has watched a horror movie, I'm sure, and been like, why'd they run that way? Or why'd they open that door? Why did they call us to come in for? And this is that. You get to be the survivor in the horror movie. Or if you want to be Michael Myers, you get to try to be Michael Myers and figure out how to run around the house and stab everybody to death. That's the thing you've decided you would like to do.
I think the crazy thing is just that, didn't Chucky come out in 88 or something?
Something like that, a long time ago.
And it's just now getting a resurgence over the last 3-4 years. And that USA show, they're in what feels like season 3 or something. It has a real fan base.
Yeah, Chucky is super popular, has been for a long time now.
That's so surprising. Because if you'd have told me listed 20 popular movies or franchises from that era, which ones would still be around in 2020, definitely wouldn't have picked Chucky.
Horror franchises never end, and
apparently.
And really, other than superheroes, that is the best way to make money at the movies, is to make a horror movie.
Yeah, they're cost effective, that's for sure.
Yeah, and again, they think what horror movie came out in that era that has gone. Friday the 13th still makes money. Freddy, all the ones that were ever really popular are pretty much still really popular.
I guess they finally gave up on Leprechaun, but that took a while.
No, I think he's got a reboot coming.
Because Leprechaun was around for a while. Because they did finally decide Leprechaun in space, I think was a little too much. But it got 5 movies or something.
And Jason went to space too. I just think everybody was just a thing you apparently had to do sometime in the, I guess, mid-90s, is take your franchise. I think Leprechaun always kind of embraced his low budget B movie. It's 3 a.m. and there's nothing else on, kind of.
Hey, sometimes you're just looking for something to watch, right? It doesn't really matter. You just need something on to kind of get you going a little bit.
And then, of course, it became a whole meme when he went to the hood, and then it was poorly edited and would have the Leprechaun run around going, "What's up, my ninjas?" That just became even more popular than the original movie because of all the edits.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
But again, they spend no money on these movies, so they're designed to be, B movies.
Well, yeah, the Sci-Fi channels made a whole genre out of that.
Yeah. Now, the new one, I assume they may actually attempt to spend some money on it, so I don't know.
It looked like it had decent actors and stuff in it, so it's very possible.
I think Jennifer Aniston got her start in Leprechaun, if I remember correctly.
Would not surprise me.
I think that was her first movie.
Well,
and then, of course, Warwick Davis has been in Willow, Ray.
Well, yeah, he's been around for a while. Yeah, he's been doing stuff. But yeah, let's talk about some other interesting things here, because this is a weird week in kind of what we're going to talk about here and what did we learn. So I'll let you start.
All right. ESPN's own Stephen A. Smith, always argue with people. People always try to catch him off guard. And the other day, a guy just thought he really was going to throw up a curveball and tell you, in ranking the GOATs, I think he went on to name Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, a couple legitimate people you would talk about when you're discussing who are the GOATs among athletes. Guy hauls off. Where do you rank Lightning McQueen? If you don't know, and it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't, Lightning McQueen is the main character in the Pixar car series. He's a talking race car, if you will. And Stephen A. Smith didn't miss a beat. You know, he did knew. I believe Lightning McQueen has won 7 Piston Cups, but apparently somebody that raced 40 years ago has also won. Stephen A. Smith knew exactly how many championships Lightning McQueen had won, and was ready to argue the point. You couldn't. The guy thought he was catching him off guard, but no. I guess they're kids in Stephen A. Smith's family, or he just happened to watch a car. It is, after all, he is a Disney employee as part of ESPN, so maybe he just.
I'm telling you, mate. Like if you're gonna try to catch somebody, you got to go for a character that's in like a cult classic that some people may not have seen or whatever. Like you can't go for the Disney Pixar stuff. It's too big.
It's got to be, it's got to be big enough that they would actually at least get the reference, maybe.
Well, you need it to be big enough that people who are on your side trying to get the reference, but the person themselves may not get the reference, right? Like, because that's how you get them in the trap. So you can get them to be like, well, I don't know that person, or what'd they do, or whatever. Like, I think off the air we were talking about it. I don't have kids, but if you threw out something about Dora the Explorer or whatever, like, I know what it is, and like some of the silly songs or whatever, because I've been around other people that got kids. Yeah. It's too popular.
There's like, knowing, but would you know? Did you know how many Piston Cups Lightning McQueen had won? I've seen that movie. I have kids. I've seen that movie 50 times. I couldn't have told you exactly how many championships he's won.
I don't think I could have told you exactly, but I knew the backstory.
Yeah.
On like the other person also winning, or the other car winning a lot and whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Stephen A. Smith was ready to argue with Cars universe stats. There's no way Old Boy was.
But I will say this though: as soon as the dude had mentioned like with 7 Piston Cups, they're like, "Oh yeah, now he jogged my memory and I remembered." So yeah, that's a tough one. But hey, credit to Stephen A. Smith for at least going along with the bit, because he could have just been like, "Dude, really, you're gonna call in with that trash?" Like, he at least went along with it, and it was entertaining. So
exactly,
good on him. Like, you got to know when to go for it. So yeah, I was gonna bring up. And I'm going to try to talk about this judiciously, but there are several companies and I guess businesses, I would just say in general, that are moving away from Twitter for advertising. And I will say, yes, some of these are companies some are some that we are close to. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Part of it is just right now, it's not very well regulated or moderated. So there are a lot of bots on there, like at an all-time high on X, as we'll say. But, generally there's always going to be bots on different platforms. Yeah. Like, it's just, you deal with them, you get rid of them, whatever. Twitter seems like it's become so hard to even like deal with them, report them. Sometimes you're reporting them and they're not being dealt with. They're showing up on every random post. It feels like it's to the point that you can't even accurately assess your numbers and know what you're buying, right? How many are going to real people? How many of them are actually creating engagement? Your APIs are broken. I mean, for those of you who don't know, the way we have our show set up, once it's done and I load it, it automatically went to certain places. One of those also being Twitter. So our Twitter page populated with it so you could see it. It reminds people you can go listen to it. That was broken for like 3-4 weeks, and I didn't even realize it till I kind of went back through and I'm like, hey, there's nothing about the latest couple episodes. What's up? And I went back and realized it's been broken. And this was like back, I don't know, beginning of the summer. So whatever that is now, 5 months or so, 6 months already? Yeah. Like, that has just not been working. And so who knows whatever else is broken on the website.
And then you add all the rampant anti-Semitism. You can understand why people would be distancing themselves.
Not just that, but some of the ads on there, the other companies, like, you don't want your stuff showing up right before, right after some of that other stuff. Right? No. You don't want to be associated with that, even though you're not. Like, that's what people see and think. So that's
because I mean, if somebody's, like you said, if your ad's right there, somebody might misconstrue. Hey, wait, because these ads are designed to Twitter, Facebook, all them do it where you're reading about, last night's Laker game, and then all of a sudden it transitions to this, hey, would you like to click on this? And for a second, it's designed really.
Oh, dude, I've literally seen some that have said outright, like, well, these platforms don't let us advertise anymore and blah blah. Like, well, yeah, because you're one step away from being a nationalist or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dog, I get it. Look at your language and whatever in this video, but it's on Twitter, right? So that creates a different problem. Now, what does that mean for the future? Don't know. Like, are people just wholesale moving away from Twitter? No. Like, if you play Magic, you will still see stuff from Wizards and Ultra Pro and Ultimate Guard and all these other companies, right? They're still going to be there. But how much effort are they putting into it? How much spend are they putting into it? I imagine, from what I know from the few people I've spoken to, this is probably a thing most companies have recognized. So probably pretty significant amount is going to be moved away and going to other platforms. And I can tell you that some directly have said they're just going to be spending more on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, because those are at least real numbers and real people. They're at least regulated, even though some people may not like some of that on how they're moderated. At least there's something there to keep things in check, and you can actually get more for your reach and your money. Not to mention also some of the vitriol that just comes with TikTok or with Twitter sometimes. You just may not even want to have to deal with it for your social teams every once in a while. So it's just, yeah, right now it's a mess. And I don't know how you fix it, because realistically, you would have to, well, first hire some people back because you're going to need a lot more work done, but do some things that he just doesn't want to do with the platform right now. He being Elon Musk, but starting with him just not posting on Twitter, because it seems like every time he posts, it's something edgy that gets a bunch of people all up in arms. So that doesn't help. But, you know, you've got to, like we said, you got to fix the API stuff. You got to get rid of all the bots. You got to have better moderation. Vet the people who are coming to promote on your platform. Like, it's a train wreck right now, man.
Yeah, and there's no way he's going to stop talking, because that's a large reason that he bought the platform, is because he wants, he wants the megaphone, and he wants nobody to be able to take the megaphone away from him.
And I will tell you right now, I think for a lot of different subgroups on Twitter, it's going to come down to, where do the thought leaders in that group go, right? Even for Magic, if a bunch of the bigger Magic creators and whatever start using Threads or Blue Sky or whatever, the rest of the community is going to follow them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're an artist and several of the artists decide they're going to be on whatever, Spoutable or whatever, well, artists are going to start going there, right? Because they want to network. They want to be around the people who like that thing and they can sell to them or whatever. Now, I don't think this means that Twitter's just going to go away overnight. I mean, hell, MySpace is still around. So, slow burn and all that. But I just don't know. I don't know what it looks like 2-3 years from now without major changes. I mean, you're talking about the fact that he's driven a thing that he paid 40+ billion for, already down to an estimated 4 billion or less.
And it has to be mentioned that even before he bought it, Twitter was not profitable.
No, I mean, they at least had a better valuation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But in terms of, how Twitter was going to get monetized, they had to figure it. In their case, they, best luck ever. Or, random billionaire walks along decides he'd like to buy a thing that hasn't been profitable because he's sure he can make it that way. Now, I'm sure even they knew that probably wasn't going to happen. But hey, once you sold it to the billionaire, not your problem anymore.
Yeah, so that's a tough one, man. I just say, you know what? I'll still use it. Part of the community is still there. We'll still be around. But yeah, I'd expect you're going to see a lot of companies putting more effort into the other platforms. And honestly, you've already seen a little bit of it with TikTok. It feels like now every third video or something is an ad to sell you something on TikTok now. So, I mean, the money's moving for sure. And I don't know how we recover from that, but we'll see. Anyway, let's talk about some different topics in the news, because there's a lot. And the first one we want to start with is, there's an artist that got caught for plagiarism. And this is the second time, I believe, in 3 years we've had this happen.
I don't understand how people ever think they're going to get away with this, whether it's in writing or in art, especially something like Magic, where millions of people see the final product.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I believe the artist's name was David Sondered, or Sondered, depending on how you pronounce that. But he effectively did the art for, I believe it was Mishra's Bauble in one of the latest sets. I'm gonna double check that while we're actually talking. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be on the screen. But he decided he was going to take somebody else's artwork that had already done the background piece effectively, and then put his artwork over it. Wayfarer's Bauble, that was the card. And ta-da! I'm gonna submit this to Wizards. And all he really did with them is took out, there was like a person walking down some stairs. He kind of took out of the image and, made the sky darker or whatever. But then he just put his art over their image effectively. That's the piece. And if you look at it up close anyway, it doesn't even, it looks like somebody has artwork over another piece, right? But that is a style some people do where the foreground is just looks separated from the background or whatever, right? That's just a thing. But to your point, like if you submit something to a game like Magic for Wizards of the Coast, you've got millions of eyes potentially that are going to see this artwork.
And these eyes include, obviously other artists,
yeah,
journalists, because when stuff goes bad wrong, like let's say a bunch of Magic cards, that stuff gets covered in every form of media.
Mm-hmm. And that's a tough thing. So obviously people called it out, did some images showing like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same piece. And then his apology, and anybody who listens to the show regularly knows, like I am already like the way I feel about apologies, they're going to get blown up anyway. But he for real did an apology that like, this is not how you do apologies. He basically said like, well, yeah, I do this all the time. Just I normally do it well enough that it looks like a new piece of art when I'm done. And I'm like, bruh, that is not what you say here.
That's how you set fire to your career right there.
Yeah, like, and I get it. Using other people's stuff for reference or whatever is a thing that happens. But you don't start with like their piece and end with their piece just missing a couple of things in it.
No.
Like if you're like, oh, I like the way this person drew these stairs or whatever. Like, sure, use them as a reference. Maybe even scale them differently. You fit your piece, whatever. But literally, it's the whole building, stairs, trees, everything's the same except for the color of the sky and like somebody on the steps. That's pretty much it. I mean, he didn't change anything. Like, dude. So, of course, Wizards, once they were notified, obviously made a statement and said, hey, we're discontinuing working with this person for the time being. Things got to get sorted out.
I bet you the time being will eventually become permanent because there's too many artists that don't plagiarize.
I mean, it might. I mean, the dude had to shut down everything for his studio on socials.
Especially since in his apology, he's like, hey, I do this all the time. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So across the board, shut down all of his socials. Now, he did say he was getting threats for his family and stuff, which, bruh, we got to stop doing that as just people, not even just gamers. Like, nobody needs their families threatened over this. This is not that type of situation. Like,
and problem being, once you're a plagiarist, it's like now people are sure they're going to believe you,
sure,
because you've already shown yourself to not be trustworthy.
But I want to say, like, I don't care who you are, what you've done, whatever. Like, if your family's not involved, they should not be a point of discussion at all. Like we talked about it before, even in politics, when people are going after like Trump's kid or whatever, the youngin, right? Like he ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Now, if you want to go after his adult kids who are getting involved in politics, cool, whatever. But like the family members that are not part of the situation, there's no reason to ever go after them. Like that's like you getting into a bar fight and then somebody just calling your house and threatening your wife or whatever, right? Like that's stupid. Like they obviously weren't there, have nothing to do with this.
So if I had a nickel for every time I've been in a bar fight.
yeah. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that aside, like that's dumb. But I can't see how this person is going to get large contract work for a while. Like this is tough. I think this is where you literally start from the bottom, rebuilding your rep,
I mean, I would say he's done, but then there are so many times I've thought we were writing somebody's career epitaph, and then no, everything's fine.
I don't think this is the case where this person needs to be done. I don't think that, but
just speaking from an artist standpoint, I mean, I'm just gonna because yeah, plagiarism is also a thing in print journalism.
Sure.
I know for a fact that if I said, hey, let's say I got caught plagiarizing, and then as part of my apology, I said, oh, by the way, I've done this 1,000 times. I usually do it better. Yeah, I'd be done. Nobody would hire me again.
There's always somebody that you get to start with, whether it's somebody just looking to start up a website, somebody
Well,
that
I'll
needs
say,
some
okay,
cheap art for a
nobody,
game, whatever.
I'll say nobody reputable, I would say,
Yeah,
would
but
work with
and
you
that's why
ever.
you got to start from the bottom and rebuild. That's the only thing you can do if you choose to stay in that business.
And it'd be hard for you to even make a full-time salary probably off of the places that would still employ somebody that did that.
Sure, that's part of the social punishment. Like you got to get back to that space. I don't think you'll ever get a big Wizards type job again with
Yeah, that's what
regularity.
I'm saying. So I
Yeah,
think
that's not going to happen. But you can at least
you're
get. I think you can get back though to where you're selling artwork at shows and that type of thing. I just don't think you're going to be able to get back to those big regular multi-$1,000 gigs that are happening 6-7 times a year that people are from the big companies are sourcing you out. Like there's always going to be somebody on different platforms that are starting up board games or whatever and they need some artwork or whatever. Like you'll find work. It's just not going to be the big ticket work, I don't think. Not for a long time. And that sucks, but I mean usually when
I
you
would
see
feel like other artists would probably boycott any company that work with them, I would believe.
for a while, I think that's going to be true. I think that's going to be a situation for sure.
But I guess it's something because I said I've been I thought people were done many times, and then like 6 months later, they have not only not done, don't appear to have suffered any ill effects.
The thing that gets me it's so crazy is just how similar the piece looks still. Like
And now
normally if
I'm
you're going to try to
curious.
plagiarize, like everybody tried it once or twice when you're going through grade school, right? Like I'm going to rewrite this person's sentence or whatever, like at least try to make it look like it's yours. You know what I mean? Like this still looks like the other piece. That's the thing that's mind blowing. So I don't know. But punishment has been levied at this point. We'll see where they go from here, but I would not expect to see their artwork on Magic cards for the foreseeable future, if ever. I mean, Wizards has a pile of artists lined up that want to do Magic
Right?
and D&D art. They don't have to go back to you if you burn them.
Yeah, and certainly he can't say his art was of such good quality that he can't be replaced. That's certainly in the argument.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand there are a lot of people that would love to get steady work
Yeah.
from Wizards of the Coast. So yeah, they don't have to go back.
And also, it was another Magic artist too, right?
I believe one of them was another Magic artist. Yeah, the person
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
how he. I mean, I guess as he said, he had been getting away with it for so long to where he just kind of got bold, as often happens with cheating.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, he did say, he's reaching out to the other artists to figure out how to make it right and all this stuff. So I don't think we'll overhear. That'll probably be a private conversation. But yeah, crazy. It's just.
I mean, it's basically, I'm assuming, involves some financial, like the overwhelming majority of the financial compensation that he got for that artwork would be, I guess,
Probably.
that'd be what I would want.
Yeah, I couldn't fault somebody for asking for that. It'd be within reason. But yeah, speaking of startup stuff, let's talk about that. We have Logitech on Indiegogo, of all things. So, those of you who don't know, there are platforms like Indiegogo or Kickstarter that are kind of where the community spends some money. They get an early version of whatever it is you're selling or making or supporting. Maybe if you're making a movie, they get free tickets, whatever. And it's a way for you to crowdsource the funding for your new item. Usually, this is for people like probably those of you listening or me and Brian. Like if we had an idea, we'd probably go to something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo to get it off the ground, right? We don't necessarily have the money for it. Maybe enough people are interested that they can help us fund this, and then we can turn it into a company, that sort of thing. And usually, and I'm going to say, like, I have a problem anyway. And this has been a thing for years. I was saying this, probably 10 years ago. It's frustrating when established companies go onto these platforms and kind of take money away from other potential projects when they don't need the crowdfunding. Now, I will say, if you're making a brand new thing, like maybe it's a new piece of technology or some type of chipset or something that you don't even know if enough people want it or whatever, all right, cool. You can put it out there and that makes sense. But we saw it for a long time with some of these established board game companies going, hey, we have a new board game we want to make. We're going to put it on Kickstarter or whatever. Like, you don't need the money. Like, there's literally people scraping by, new designers and whatever, and they're just trying to get their name out there. Let them take a shot at it. So to see something like Logitech come on there, my first thought was, oh, okay, this must be something brand new. But it's a thing they're calling the Logitech Reach, which, if for those of you just listening, it's basically a camera stand. So it's like a pole that attaches to your desk, and then it has we'll just say an L-shaped arm that sticks off of it, and the arm goes up and down, and then along the extended arm, the camera can slide left to right. So this is cool for a lot of reasons, because regardless of the size of your space, you can now have a camera that zooms in and out, slides all across your desk, whatever you need to do demos or presentations or whatever, right? Great idea. But they're not really building anything new except for a sliding arm. Like, the camera is still the camera. Like, Logitech already makes cameras. There's nothing new going on with the camera. It's literally, hell, and technically, the post already exists, because I have some on my desk right now holding things. So literally, it's just the sliding arm that they're technically funding. Like, I don't know why it's a thing. Like, now, because people are like, oh, it's Logitech, they're trustworthy, whatever. Like, it got funded in the first 3 or 4 hours. And they're saying they can't deliver them, I believe, until July next year. I'm going to double check that, but I think that's what it said. Which is also kind of crazy. That's meaning they've done nothing in the way of production or anything yet. They just have, I guess, demo copies or whatever, so they can make videos and such. And that's it. So this is literally being all crowdfunded.
I think, I guess Kickstarter / Indiegogo has just become, this is content for a different audience, because the thing that you have from Logitech or something like that you don't have from a company you've never heard of before is you hopefully there's a much greater chance that this thing, let's say Logitech better deliver a product, or there's going to be consequences and repercussions. So some people, I think, just want to have that security of, hey, this thing I'm paying for is going to happen.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? If they don't deliver, after right now they've already collected $400K on this project.
Yeah.
And it's got 22 days left. So it's realistically, if I were to guess, probably going to finish somewhere around over 600K in that amount of time. So I'm going to assume they're going to deliver. And I'm going to assume
they have to.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume the product's going to be good. It's a very useful item. I could see why people would want it. I could even find uses for one. So, like, I don't hate the product at all. I think it's a good idea, and Logitech's been trustworthy. They make a whole series of mice that people use. So, yeah, it's just weird. That's all. When it popped up, it was kind of like, why Logitech over there? And I was thinking, my first thought was, again, I was expecting to see something cool and new that they were working on. I'm like, oh, it's literally just mostly the sliding mechanism on the pole arm.
I mean, I see, from a corporate standpoint, if other companies are allowing people, to customers to pay for their stuff, for the testing of it, what have you, if other companies are doing it, you almost have to, or you're at a disadvantage.
And that's exactly it. I can't fault them for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's become the norm and other people are doing it and your fans of your products don't care that you're doing it, then yeah, take the free money.
And it absolutely has become the norm. Like you said, you're seeing there's this point probably as many or more huge companies on these platforms as there are people that you aren't familiar with.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, this isn't a Logitech only thing. This is just the latest thing, right? So this isn't just, oh, Logitech's so wrong for doing it. Like, no, they totally have the right to do it. see other companies doing it too and just thinking, man, this is sad because that's not what these platforms were initially designed for. But here we are. I will say though, if you're interested in the product, go check it out. It's actually, I would say it's a little bit pricey, just a hair, but it does also come with a really good camera attached to it and everything else. So, you know, if you need it, cool product. But let's talk about some other things that outraged some people this week. And that's some Secret Lair stuff. Now, obviously, there's some people that are just always mad at Secret Lair. That's not what we're talking about. This particularly is part of the crossover stuff with Jurassic World. They put up 5 cards, and they basically reskinned 5 magic dinosaurs as dinosaurs from Jurassic World. People were so angry, it seemed like. Now, admittedly, this is the dedicated Magic groups and the you know, Magic Twitter or whatever that are just going to be mad about everything. But it was amazing to see the arguments people tried to make to be mad at skinning some made up things over some other made up things. But yeah, people were mad at the dinosaurs they chose to represent the different Magic dinosaurs on these cards. So I didn't think they were terrible choices. There's like maybe one. They're like, yeah, you could have chose something better. But they're kind of mostly fine. If I had an issue, it's that 1 or 2 of them that are like green cards, obviously, look blue because of the way the artwork's done. Right? Like that is more of a problem just for identification purposes if it's across the table. But I don't know. Otherwise, it's like we made up dinosaurs in Jurassic World. We made up dinosaurs in Magic. And like you just put the fake thing over the other fake thing. I can only be so bothered. You know what I mean? Like people shared it with me. Like, what do you think about this? Because I know you like playing this card or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. It's cool. Whatever. If you're fans of either one, great. You get a cool new card with looks like a neat Jurassic World related skin. This is what Secret Lair is made for, to re-envision stuff, to put weird things on there. I mean, hell, we got one. It's basically a 5-card set of oh crap, what's his name? I don't know why I can't remember his name now. The dude in The Fly. And
oh yeah, Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, he got a 5-card set. Like, so if you just want him on a card, I mean, you get 5 cards with him on it. Like, weird choice, because one of them is like him kind of like buffed out and laid out or whatever. But
well, that's an iconic pose from the movie, so I guess you had to have that.
So I'm like, if that's your jam, cool. But like, I'm not gonna be mad that it's on a Magic card. Like, we just chose a card to put him on it, right? That's fine. So yeah, I don't know. It just felt like people just needed something to be mad at their favorite games about today. You know, like it's one of those things I feel like fandom is tough, because I often say fandom is the best and the worst thing to happen to so many properties on this planet, right? They're great because they show you appreciation for the thing that you made. They allow you to get rich off of making a very cool franchise. There will be whole conventions based around your thing. But what comes with that is the other side, that no matter what you say or do, it's wrong. Even though it's yours, it's wrong. Right? Like, I have literally seen people complain that a writer made a character a certain way or something in a book, and they were trying to say that's not right. And I'm like, they literally own it. They make the canon. Right? Like, I may not like it, but I can't sit here and say it's not right because it's not mine.
Yeah, like one of the most recent examples when all of the people the worst comic fans out there are blasting She-Hulk for how supposedly trash it was, and the person that wrote the storylines that the TV show is based on said it is the most accurate depiction of his comic books ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no, there's no yeah, but the guy that wrote it says it's the best.
That's
you can
exactly
shut up now.
I remember those discussions, because even when I saw the TV show, I'm like, this kind of does feel like the comic book.
Exactly.
That was my actual thought. Like her breaking the fourth wall, and the weird relationships with the Office, and like those are all things that were true to the comic series. So I was like,
She-Hulk is the character, that I remember the cover where she's standing there like, hey, if you don't read this book, I'm coming to your house and I'm burning all your X-Men comics.
Yeah. So
then the next issue is like, what did I tell you?
when people were being mad, I'm like, have you just not read like get again, you don't have to like the TV series. You don't even have to like the comic books. But to say that it's wrong, I'm like, really though?
Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But you can't say it's inaccurate when the guy that wrote all the issues like, no, this is the best adaptation there has ever been.
Yeah, it's such a weird logic to hold on to. Like even here, like sure, could we maybe have chosen something that's a little bit closer? Maybe. But I mean, we made up an Indominus Rex. All the magic dinosaurs are made up. I mean, like, so it's like, sure. I mean, but again, if you're fans of either one, or if you're fans of both, maybe you have more invested in it or something and you were hoping for something different. Like that, I can understand. But to just be mad about it, like, I don't know what people expected me to feel about them. I think they're fine. And the cards they chose were kind of cool and they're playable. So, like, thumbs up, I guess. That's what a secret lair is. I mean, like, but again, fans feel how they're going to feel. And, we've said this about all these Universes Beyond and Secret Lair stuff the whole time is that when somebody's either a super fan or doesn't care at all, they're going to have something negative to say about it. Everybody else in the middle, we're kind of just going to go, all right, it's cool, I guess. And we're just going to move on with our day, right? Because we're not crazy invested one way or the other. So it is what it is. It'll be interesting to see, though, just how popular all the Jurassic Park related thing, or I guess in this case, Jurassic World related things really will be.
I think you can say Jurassic Park like as a catch-all for just the entire franchise.
That's fair. I'm just trying to be professional. Use the license that they attach to it. But yeah, let's talk about an interesting magic thing they're doing internally. So as it turns out, on November 30th, you're going to be able to play Two-Headed Giant games with people on the Magic community team. They're going to be available in the Magic official Discord, and then the games are going to be played on Spell Table, which is pretty cool. And I don't think people are aware that this is something they've done in the recent past, because I want to say I've seen them do Commander games, and there was another one that I forgot what it was, but there was another like funky format thing they did. And I think they're using it as a way for one, just random folks that are fans to have a chance to engage with people at Wizards of the Coast, but also probably just to talk with people and ask some questions or whatever, just to make sure that the things coming in internally match with what they think it's going to be and, feeling out the community. But this is kind of a cool thing that I think more companies should probably do. Give your people internally a chance to engage with the communities that they're making stuff for. Because if nothing else, it can only make their job better, right? That they have more perspective and understand kind of what the impacts are and how people feel about things they're producing. I mean, I think there's a fair amount that probably know some of that, probably still visit game stores or go out and play with people regularly, make trips to conventions. But for those that don't, this is like a company sponsored time to do it. And I think that's a good thing. It's basically researching your job just in a fun way. So I don't know, like, do you think this is something that other companies could benefit from?
There are a few companies that I've seen do this, so they're not completely on. Now, off the top of my head, I can't think of. Of course, can't think of a single one off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I've seen projects like this before. And definitely, if you got, it's really just PR basically, just good old fashioned, letting the fans of the product know that you care about them and you appreciate them supporting your product.
Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking, like, I feel like there have been things where I'm at an event, like at conventions, there's been like, hey, come meet the staff, or they'll play in certain events throughout the weekend or whatever. But I don't know if I remember a time recently where, like, I don't know, Riot developers got on and played League or Teamfight Tactics with people for 6 hours or whatever during a day, Now, I do know some of the developers for like Magic Arena do play with people because their names come up with like the mythic orange color, and so it's a staffer. So they're still involved in the game, so that's a thing. But yeah, I don't know how often that's a thing. And I think for all levels, I don't even think it should just be the community team or just the developers. I think C-suite people should be involved on some level just to know, right? Even if it's just people being mad and they got to take shots from people directly, like at least understand how upset people are or whatever, we've talked about it recently. I think it's done Twitter or Twitch a lot of good because their new chief of staff, I guess, I don't know what his title is, director, like he's been making appearances at conventions, doing the rounds on people's podcasts, and it's helping him do his job better, and it's changing the sentiment around the company because they can actually speak to people and go, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense when he explains something or whatever. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a positive. I hope to see more of this, honestly. Maybe this should, I don't know if it should be monthly, but maybe every other month, just so more people get an opportunity. And I don't know how many people it's going to be or how many games they're going to be able to get in. It looks like it's 2 hours in the afternoon and 2 hours in the evening, probably to allow people from
Okay.
different time zones a shot
Yeah.
to get in. But I mean, even if it's 15 or 20 people, that's only a handful of games that can be going at one time. But it probably also brings other people together that, maybe they're waiting in the lobby, they can start another game or something. But yeah, it's a cool idea. I think it's something, like I said, more companies should probably do. And it feels like only positives are going to come from it. Like, I can't imagine, unless you just have awful internal employees, like how it goes negative. But if you do, those people should probably be fired anyway. But yeah, this is cool. I want to see more of that from more companies if possible. I mean, because it feels like it'd be fun to, I don't know, let's say you play Diablo or Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever and get invited to run with some of the developers or whatever, so they can show you cool stuff you didn't even know you might have overlooked or whatever, right? That could be a really neat experience. And it's something I hadn't thought about till when I was reading. I saw this blurb get posted and I was reading about this and went, huh, I can't remember a time I got to do that with people on other games. Like, that would be kind of fun. And it's weird because I don't feel like I need it as much with Magic because a lot of Magic employees are at least accessible in different ways. But most of the games I play, I know I don't even see anything posted from anybody outside of the official community manager and then like PR stuff. So it would be kind of cool to interact with people there just to have an understanding of just internal logistics or feelings for certain things or whatever. So yeah, this is a cool idea. But yeah, if you're looking for it, you can go to the Magic official Discord, or you can do a search. I believe they have some stuff on Twitter. They're talking about it, or just search up Two-Headed Giant play on November 3rd or November 30th. Sorry, that'll actually help you find them as well. But that brings us to the dinner table. And this is going to be kind of a fun one. Sometimes we talk about serious stuff in the dinner table, but this time the question's kind of simple. Since we talk a lot about gaming, how much gaming do you do with the family during the holidays? Because I don't know this answer for you, for sure.
Yes, well, obviously, this is a pretty big gamer house. So yeah, we are gaming together pretty much all the time. So yeah, definitely on holidays also get out the Super Smash Bros. All the time. I take my whoopings. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I thought I was good at Smash Bros. Till I had kids.
Dude, I still remember when I think it was the Wii was the first time we could play Mario Kart online with like the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kill some people at this game. Dude, it took me for real, I think like 20 races for me just to place, not even to win, like just to get into third place. And I was like, damn, I ain't crap at this game. I mean, eventually I got better and I could win some every once in a while. But dude, for a good first couple of months, I was just getting boat raced. I mean,
Mario Kart is no joke. People really just almost any game that gets played online, there's going to be a meta. There's going to be characters that are better than other characters, and you don't know any of that stuff. Unless again you happen to have people that go to gaming tournaments in your house.
I was watching other people, and you have to learn. Okay, everybody likes to take the turn this way, or they like to try to slide here so they can hit another like item box or whatever. So like, I know if I'm right behind them, I could go inside and I could get a little bit of an edge here or whatever. Yep. Or if there's three of us coming up to a turn, if I'm on the outside, I'm less likely to get bumped or whatever. Like, but people know that stuff, man. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Our house, I would say, like, we're not what I would call a heavy gamer house. I mean, I am, but we do play a fair amount of games. And especially when we get people over, we actually play more board games, believe it or not. We have and I think there's something about the analog experience, if you want to call it that, when you just have different age groups and everything else, it's a lot easier to have something physical. And we do
Yeah.
have games that you could play like 5, 6, 7 people, 8 people. So you can have more people engaged at one time, which is also kind of nice. Which is good for me because sometimes it's like, man, the Cowboys game's on. So people don't have to move to another room or whatever to like play something on a TV. Because if they want a TV, I'm going upstairs. I ain't gonna be around people. I gotta watch the game. You know, it's gonna be a thing.
And Uno has been a
Yeah.
thing for forever.
Dude, card games, Uno, Spades.
Spades.
Yeah,
Yep.
like those are for real things. Those are starts of fights.
Right.
But they're real.
One of my aunts does a bid whist, and she's got a whole group
Dude,
that she
Bid
runs
Whist is
out.
like, for people that don't know, Bid Whist is like the old black people game.
Right.
Right? Like, there's a point where, and I'm in that age range, like when you go over 40, you got to start looking up the rules to Bid Whist because sooner or later, somebody ain't going to be around no more. Somebody going to need a partner.
Wow.
They're going to come looking. You know, I'm just saying, you're going to get recruited sooner or later. You got to be ready.
I'm turning down any unless they're going to start playing Magic. I ain't learning Bid Whist.
But it's like that though. I mean, and I've seen other games, you know, every family seems to have a game or two that's what their family plays, you know, whatever it is.
The Great Blackish episode about how you don't even understand who people in your family are till you play Monopoly with them.
Oh, dude, for real. Like there were people in my family you just didn't play some games with.
Yeah.
Like you knew they weren't good at certain games, but they thought they were, and then they're just going to be angry when they're losing. So you just, it's like, nah, they're like, I want to play. Like, no, you can't play this Uno with us. We already are full. We got 4 people. Like you would find any excuse to not have that person play the game with you.
Uno is full. That's pretty, that's pretty rough with it. Everybody knows.
Game's full, dog. It's full. No, but, and I actually enjoy that time too, because I think it's different than when you're getting like competitive gamer friends together. Right, because now everybody's trying to win. We got to play top strategy.
Is it? If you're telling people the Uno table is full?
No. I'm talking about like now where I'm at in my life, right? Because I don't have a lot necessarily. Because a lot of my family is still out of state, so we end up with just a lot of local friends up here that are just kind of social gamers or very like casual gamers. So you can have fun stuff. You can play the games that are less serious. You can try more silly strategies just to keep people in the game more. And it becomes more of just like a social hour more than trying to win the game, which is actually really cool. So games that I haven't played in a while, like I can bust those out, have a good time with them. I think right now, our plan, by the time people are listening to this, probably going to be playing some combination of Wingspan, a dice game called Azul, which is very good. And what else would I probably have out at this time? Oh, Camel Up, which is a really sweet board game where you're literally racing camels that stack up on top of each other. It's pretty hilarious.
Okay.
So yeah, those would probably be the 3 that are going to get pulled out this time, you know, for this year. But yeah, I mean, gaming though is kind of a norm for us, you know, and it is cool when we're with the casual gamers and stuff because like you've already eaten, you're sitting around, you know, maybe people are having a drink or something to kind of end the day. And it's just cool to hang out. So yeah, do a fair amount of gaming around the holidays. I think a lot of my video game time has been kind of personal time lately. I do still, sometimes me and the woman, we'll get on and we'll play some type of like role-playing type game or something together. Because she's playing some Baldur's Gate, I'm playing some Baldur's Gate. So like, you know, we might hop on and do that. But generally it's board game time when we game as a group or as a family in our house, which is kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about that till right now. I think I do my video gaming by myself, but my board gaming as a group. So there you go. Help me realize something by answering a question. But all right, Brian, let's wrap things up and tell people where they can find you on the social media machines.
All right. I am Brian Tonic on the Twitter and Instagram. I'm still on Twitter for, I guess, as long as, until I look around and find myself alone in my various groups.
And you can find me just about everywhere at Power Dragon, POWRDRAGN. And as a reminder, hey, go support our friends over at Cool Stuff Inc. Any other creators that you follow, go support the brands that support them because it allows them to support you. But wherever you are listening or watching, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please take care of yourselves and your family. Remember to be awesome, and most importantly, be awesome to each other.